This is Under the Mistletoe Mishap, Christmas Tree, Pennsylvania Sweet Holiday Romcom Short Read, Book 3. Written by Jessie Gussman. Performed by Jay Dyess. Chapter 1. Lucy.
This is the nicest party I've ever been to. I look around in awe. The ballroom has been transformed into an amazing, magical Christmas wonderland. Tinsel drapes from every inch of the ceiling, and it catches the lights and throws reflections all over. I am in awe. Of course, it probably doesn't take much, considering that I grew up in Christmas Tree, Pennsylvania, which is a tiny town in northeastern PA, and most people from my town have never been to a party like this. But billionaire Samuel Barrage is throwing this in what I know to be his brother's mansion, even though most of the town thinks he owns it. I know the truth because I'm best friends with his little sister, Allison. Allison spends more time in Christmas Tree than either one of her brothers, and despite the fact that I'm best friends with her, I hardly ever see either one of them. The few times I've seen Samuel, he's been taciturn and quiet. The tall, dark, and handsome kind of guy, with that brooding look that seems to drive women mad and be irresistible. Not to me. I want a guy who talks. More like Daniel, his younger brother. Except, I saw Daniel just a few minutes ago, and he had Amber Rogers tucked up against him, and they looked adorable together. Amber is a sweetheart. Everyone in Christmas Tree knows her, and if she and Daniel are together, I'm over the moon for her. That's just me. I'm typically happy and bubbly, and I'm feeling a little out of place because the only person I know here other than Amber is Allison. But she texted me that she was going to be late and that I should go ahead and go without her. I pull my phone out of my purse and check. No more messages. I'm here because she didn't want to be here by herself. The party is mostly for Samuel's business associates, although they're throwing an even bigger bash later this season for the entire town. I don't think anyone in town is going to miss that for anything. Surprisingly, they hired me to coordinate things. I already work at my parents' Christmas shop, one of several Christmas shops in town, making tiny houses that are very popular with the tourists who come. And we have a thriving online business. But I love planning weddings and parties on the side, and Allison knows that. She convinced her brother to hire me. Allison promised to be here with me, but she still hasn't texted anything more than she was going to be late and I should go on in without her. I pull my phone out and text her back. Are you okay? Allison is usually very dependable, and she most definitely wouldn't not be here without good reason. I just don't know what that is. Honestly, I'm starting to get worried about her. I'm clutching my phone in my hands. People, smiling and talking, crowd all around me, and I'm feeling like I'm having a bit of an out-of-body experience. The lights are glowing, the room is magical. I can smell delicious food and hear laughter and conversation, and yet I feel alone. Maybe this is the way everyone feels at these things, or maybe it's because I'm a small-town girl, or maybe it's because I don't know anyone. Possibly a combination of all three. I'm just about to pull my phone up and text Allison again when a tall, dark man catches my eye. Samuel, Alice's brother and the host of this evening. He's not talking to anyone and not smiling either. In fact, he looks annoyed. How terrible to have that expression on your face constantly. To have it be your natural expression. How awful to spend every day in a state of grumpy irritation. And how terrible to have to work with someone like that all the time. The irony that I'm working for that man does not escape me, but it's only for a holiday party. It's not like I have to show up every day and put up with someone being so grouchy. I lose him in the crowd, and I realize my eyes were tracking him despite the fact that I definitely have zero interest in the man. Even as I think that, I'm still trying to catch a glimpse of him and hardly notice when my phone starts to ring. I look at it and immediately feel relief. It's Allison. I suppose it's probably rude to talk on my phone in the middle of all these people, so I put it to my ear, all the while looking around trying to find a doorway where I can step out for a moment. This place is so immense that I've lost my sense of direction. I'm not even sure which way to go to escape. "Hello," I say, relieved that I'm finally going to find out what's going on with Allison. "Lucy, I'm here," Allison says, sounding breathless. I look around. "Where?" "Just start walking straight. I'm by the doorway." I start walking, expecting her to tell me I'm going in the wrong direction, but she doesn't. "That's right. I'm sorry I was so late. A tree had fallen over the road, and these back roads are so confusing, I wasn't sure which way to go to get around it. Thankfully, someone came with a chainsaw and got it off." "Well," I say, wanting to tease her about being rescued by a lumberjack, but I don't. I'm still looking for her, and then my eyes land on her standing over in the corner by the doorway. It's not the doorway I came in, but maybe it goes to a kitchen? I'm not sure. I'm hurrying, not really paying attention to the people around me, and three things happen at once. The first is that Allison says, "You're here. That's great. I wanted to introduce you to Samuel." The second is that a voice comes over the intercom, greeting the guests and saying they had a few announcements to make. But the third is probably the worst. I'm cheerful, happy, easygoing, and I can pretty much get along with anyone. But I'm also rather clumsy. Someone steps right in front of me. I manage to slow down my mad charge to my friend enough to skirt around them, but I lose my balance and fall headfirst into the man standing beside Allison.
Chapter 2. Samuel. I hate these things. Hate them with a passion. And almost more than that, I hate Christmas. So much fuss over nothing. I mean, I do appreciate the reason for the season, and it's not that I don't love giving gifts or being kind to people. Of course I do. I'm human. But the constant Merry Christmas everywhere, the movies, decorations, office parties, endless office parties, constantly being harangued to give donations to a million different causes, not that I don't support a million causes already, and endlessly being nagged by everyone I know to be happy and to have the joy of the season, and I just hate it. I'd rather just have black and white decor, go to work, do my best, and stop feeling like I'm putting in time until things get back to normal, basically. But I am not the only person in the universe, as I have been accused of thinking at times, by several former girlfriends who shall remain anonymous, and I try to appease the important people in my life, like my parents, my brother, and my little sister Allison. I adore her, although don't tell her that, because she'll take shameless advantage of it. I actually really like her best friend, too, although I definitely don't want that getting out. I am in the middle of a very stressful season of my business as I allow more and more of it to be taken over by others, so I can spend time relaxing. That's a bit of a foreign concept to me, since I haven't done much relaxing for the last 15 years, but I'm told that it's good for my health, and I'm told that if I don't do it, my lifespan will be rather short. So I decided that I would share this mansion with my brother. It's actually his, but he never uses it, and he's more than happy to allow me to use it as my relaxing headquarters here in the small town of Christmas Tree, Pennsylvania, the town I grew up in. It might not have been my first choice to settle in, but this is where Daniel is, and this is where Allison spends a lot of time too, and my parents just recently bought a lodge on the edge of town. So it seems natural that this is where I should be as well. So I am having a bit of a party to introduce some of my business associates to my new town and also, ulterior motive here, to bring business in for this town. It's a beautiful place, with a lake nearby and several ski resorts not too far away as well. My friends will definitely pour money into this town, which I can only see is good for everyone. I'm having another larger party for the entire town as a goodwill gesture. Allison's best friend, Lucy, is coordinating that party. It seems like I can't get away from Lucy, and I have to admit, I'm not trying very hard. Literally, actually, since she just landed in my arms a second ago, and now I'm holding her while she turns 6 different shades of red and looks absolutely adorable as the tip of her cute little nose lights up like Rudolph's. I'm tempted to tell her that, and interestingly, I'm also tempted to smile, which is not usually a problem. Me smiling.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry,
She says as she tries to straighten herself. She has on a dress which seems to billow everywhere. I remember when Allison went through a stage where she wanted to wear princess dresses everywhere, including to the grocery store. My mother indulged her, even though it was extremely embarrassing to have Allison clacking down the grocery store aisles in her princess shoes with her dress brushing everything. That's what Lucy's dress reminds me of now, but Lucy does not feel anything like a little girl. She feels soft and warm in my arms, and it takes me a little while to realize that she's straightened up and I can drop my arms. It takes me even longer to realize that the entire room, which had been full of noise and laughter, had now fallen completely silent. The last thing that I fail to realize is that I am standing directly underneath the mistletoe. But Allison, being a typical little sister, even though she is in her late 20s now and should know better, points to the two of us and says,
You guys are under the mistletoe together.
Did I mention that the entire room was completely silent? Her voice carries like a shotgun blast in the early morning stillness. I'm pretty sure every single person in the room heard, but if they didn't, they probably cheered along with everyone else, because a giant roar goes up from the crowd. Yeah, this is not the kind of attention I was trying to get. My business associates know me as a straight shooter, someone who is always focused on doing the right thing, and I'm all about working hard. I don't believe in wasting time or spending a moment on something frivolous, like mistletoe and the myths that go along with it. Except maybe I'm a little bit tempted to give in this one time, just because it's Lucy. Although, I'm not sure that I could have gotten out of it even if I hadn't been tempted to give in. Allison says,
Come on, we're all waiting on you. It's the holiday rule, you know.
I don't know anything about such a rule, but I do know that Lucy looks around, startled and a little scared, and then her eyes lift to mine, questions in them, as though she's asking me what we should do about this. Like I know, there's only one thing I can think of to do. Chapter 3. Lucy.
I must be the clumsiest person in the world, and the most unlucky. Although, I suppose it's a matter of opinion as to whether or not it was good luck or bad luck that had me landing in Samuel's arms. I don't believe in any kind of luck, But I do believe in God, and I also believe that God has been very clear that every man that I've dated has not been the right man for me. I believe that because every man I've dated has broken up with me after 1 or 2 dates, saying things like I'm crazy, psycho, too cheerful, way too cheerful, annoying, that I talk too much, and on and on. You get the idea. I don't need to go into all of my faults. Anyway, Samuel might be an eligible bachelor, but he's not really eligible for me. He's my best friend's older brother, and are there rules about that? There are definitely rules about mistletoe. I'm not confused about what they are. I'm just confused about what a girl is supposed to do when she ends up underneath the mistletoe with a guy who does not want to kiss her. Not even a little, if the expression on Samuel's face is any indication. He's looking at me like I'm some kind of roach that crawled out from underneath the wall, and honestly, it makes me want to scurry back to where I came from. Except I'm not a roach, and the very fact that I have to remind myself of that fact shows exactly how flabbergasted the man has me. He is strong, stronger than I expected, and hard, too. I wasn't expecting to fall into a chest that feels like a wall. Or maybe those are his abs. I didn't get particular when I ran into them. And when I was trying to push away from them, I wasn't paying too much attention either. So everything is hard. Chest, abs, arms, even his face. His eyes, too. I don't understand my infatuation with a man who has hard eyes. Except, I thought I saw a little bit of a smile there for a moment. And I am the endless optimist, knowing that I might possibly be able to bring that smile out again if I just had the opportunity. But now we're being forced to decide whether we're going to do what the crowd is chanting, kiss, 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 or whether we're going to awkwardly deny them. Samuel hasn't said anything, but his head starts to lower. Oh my goodness. I feel hot, then cold, and I want to fan myself. I do believe the man is going to kiss me. All right, I can handle this. I reach up because, yes, ever since I've been friends with Allison and met Samuel, I've dreamed about kissing him. Actually, I didn't need to realize that Samuel was her brother in order to dream about him. I'm not going to turn this down. Although part of me says that I shouldn't go around kissing guys who I know don't have any affection for me at all. I've studiously avoided mistletoe all of my life for that very reason. I don't want to get stuck kissing some stranger I don't know. But Samuel, all right, I admit I want to kiss him. Normally I don't go around doing whatever I want to do, but it's going to be on the cheek and no big deal. Except, as I reach up to him, tilting my head just a little, leaning to the side, assuming he's going to peck my cheek, he tilts his head the same way, and I think he's going in for a lip kiss because our noses bump. This is awkward. I swallow, feeling like I'm the reason it happens, and quickly tilt my head to the other side. Only he seems to have the same idea to fix this problem, and his head tilts to the other side just as fast. Our noses are in the way again. My cheeks are flaming, and I want to die, but he seems just as cool as ever. And maybe there's that twitch of his lips again and a small twinkle in his eye. I'm not sure, but I feel 2 warm hands holding either side of my face, and he says, "Let me help." If he wants to help, he could fan me, because my heart is racing, and I feel like I'm going to combust. I don't know what he reads on my face, but I know his lip quirks as his head lowers, and his lips touch mine. They're soft and warm and absolutely perfect, and my hands go up to his shoulders, sliding around them, and my eyes flutter shut as I lean into him. I'm not thinking it is going to be any kind of serious kiss, but somehow one of his hands slides from my cheek to my hair, and the other one lands around my waist, and he pulls me closer as my hands bury themselves in his hair, and I don't even remember letting go of his shoulders and wrapping them around him, but we are kissing, truly kissing, and I have completely forgotten that there is an entire room full of people watching us. I think my feet might be off the floor, and I'm fairly certain it's not because I all of a sudden decide to start levitating, although honestly, at that point, nothing would surprise me, even levitation. Then, ever so slowly, I'm lowering, sliding down his body as my feet slowly touch the floor, and he slowly lifts his head a fraction of an inch from mine, and his words, low and soft, breathe over my face.
I never liked mistletoe, but I just changed my mind. Chapter 4. Samuel. I've always been very aware where the mistletoe is in the room, since I hate Christmas and everything associated with it. I don't really hate mistletoe kisses since I've never had one, except Lucy made my first mistletoe kiss the absolute best kiss I've ever had in my entire life. I barely hear the cheers of the crowd as her breath washes over my face, and I want to lower my head again. I had no idea. I mean, I know Lucy, and I admire her, and even though she's way too happy for me, I have always felt a bit of a pull toward her. When Allison has her over, I know where they are, and I know where she lives and works. I've ordered a lot of the houses that she makes as gifts for clients, friends, and associates. Of course, she doesn't know this. I make sure that my tracks are covered. Still, I might have what some might call an obsession with Lucy. She brings sunshine into my life. But I'm a guy who likes the shadows, and to me, sunshine can be uncomfortable. So I stay away. Always have. I'm slowly aware that everyone around us is still cheering, and I'm holding Lucy like she's a life jacket and I'm in the middle of the Indian Ocean. I swallow, wondering if I went a little too far. I did not mean to kiss her like that, but she's the one who grabbed a hold of me and pulled tight, although I touched her first. I'm not sure which one of us can be faulted for deepening the kiss. It seemed like a natural thing, and to be honest, I wasn't doing much thinking after my lips touched hers.
Wow, that was the hottest Christmas mistletoe kiss I've ever witnessed,
Allison says, and I know I shocked my sister. She didn't expect to see her taciturn and straight-laced brother laying one on anyone, let alone her best friend. That was quite an example, Philip says, slapping my shoulder. Philip and I have done business together for years, and his laughing blue eyes meet mine easily. He is not intimidated by my appearance, or silence, or glare. I feel like I'm throwing all three of them at him right now, and he just walks off laughing and shaking his head. I think I should apologize to Lucy for what I just did. Sure, she might have been the one to deepen the kiss, I'm not sure, but I should have been the responsible one and not allowed it. After all, Lucy is a lot younger than me, 7 years, and is like a little sister. I was in college before she was even in junior high.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean for that to get out of hand the way it did. I meant to offer my cheek, and somehow you opened your mouth and sucked in his tongue?
Bernie says, coming over and giving Lucy a glance. I do business with Bernie when I have to, but he's not my favorite, and I definitely don't like the way he's looking at Lucy. It's a perfectly natural thing when two people are together for them to kiss like that, I say, not knowing where the words come from but wanting to wipe that look off Bernie's face. Actually, I'd like to wipe the floor with it. I'm not sure where these feelings come from either. Why am I feeling so possessive and protective? Of my family, that's normal, but of Lucy? Sure, she and Allison have been best friends for so long that she feels like part of the family, except I never do anything with her. My words have made her look at me in shock.
Oh, that's rich. You think I'm going to believe that a sophisticated businessman like you is dating a country bumpkin like her?
Bernie laughs, and it sounds nasally and nasty, and normally I would just walk away. But I have Lucy in front of me, and he just insulted her. She doesn't look insulted, she looks horrified, like she's embarrassed for me. She's fresh and happy and honest and caring, and exactly what a man like me needs, I say, slipping my arm around her and pulling her close. She doesn't resist and in fact fits me perfectly. I have to admit, I'd always kind of thought she would, but I never really thought I was going to get the opportunity to see.
You're serious,
Bernie says, disbelief dripping from every syllable. Of course. When you have someone like Lucy, you don't let them go. Women like her don't come around very often. Bernie lifts his brows in disbelief and then looks at Lucy as though wondering if he might have missed something when he looked at her before. I can tell him for a fact that he has, if he is wondering why someone like me would be with Lucy. He's missed a lot if he's wondering that. Someone like me doesn't deserve to touch the hem of Lucy's dress, let alone have my arm around her and pull her beside me like she belongs there. She's everything that's good and pure and beautiful. She's happy and joyful and brings sunshine to the lives of everyone she touches. While I'm maybe not the opposite, but close. There are a lot of things I did when I was first starting out in my business that I regret now. People I hurt and rules I've bent in order to get ahead. Those days are long behind me, and I made most of my fortune completely honestly, and I've given more money away every year than most people earn in a lifetime. Bernie is giving some sniveling remark, groveling, because he understands he upset me, and I just jerk my head at him dismissively. He walks away, and it's not 2 seconds later that Lucy has turned to me and lifted her head.
Why did you say that?
I couldn't stand the way he was looking at you, I say, and then I try to close down. I don't want to show any vulnerability at all. I don't want her to see that I truly do like her.
That's not the most important question,
Allison says, and I didn't realize she was listening too.
The most important question is, what are you going to do about it? Everyone in the room heard.
I look at Lucy. She looks surprised, but not upset. I guess that's up to Lucy. Chapter 5. Lucy.
Up to me? What is he, insane? I wasn't the one who said that we were together. Now I'm the one who's supposed to decide what to do about it? Thankfully, whoever was doing the announcements waited for the cheering to die down, said a couple of words about the kiss, and for the most part started talking about something else. And so only the people who were closest to us heard Samuel's declaration.
We should probably go somewhere and talk about this,
Samuel says, and he tightens his arm around my shoulder. I do not mind being tucked against him. It feels perfect. My shoulder fits underneath him, and our sides are pressed together, and my arm automatically goes around his waist, and I don't care if I stay like this for the rest of my life. Okay, I say, knowing that I need to put an end to this, but I'm okay if we don't do it in public. Although there is no way I'm going to walk around with everyone thinking that we're a couple. I'm just not. And I know he doesn't want to do it either. However, I need to thank him for saying what he did with that creepy dude. He was icky, and I appreciated having Samuel beside me, defending me. I didn't feel the slightest bit unsafe as long as he was with me. We slip through the doorway as Allison says, "I have to go, but tell me about it later." Then she gives me a big smile and hurries off. I have no idea where she's going. She told me she didn't know anyone here except her two brothers and her parents. Her mother can be slightly draconian, so maybe that's who she's running toward. Regardless, we end up going down the hall and around the turn, where Samuel opens the door and allows me to walk in first. He flips on a light switch, and the light shows a beautifully decorated room. It looks like a sitting room or a library. There are lots of bookshelves with books, but there's also a cozy fireplace and two recliners, as well as a love seat and a Christmas tree in the corner. Unsurprisingly, it's tastefully decorated, just as I would expect it to be, since everything in the mansion has been extraordinary.
So I need to apologize. That got way out of hand.
That's how he starts off as he runs a hand through his hair, closing the door behind us after I walk in, and I feel the coldness where his body had been pressed against mine, and somehow I missed that like it was normal instead of abnormal. No, I need to apologize. I guess I'm not very good at mistletoe kisses, since I've spent my life avoiding them.
You have?
He says, slowly and softly. I nod. I always know where the mistletoe is, and I avoid it religiously. I don't want to kiss someone I barely know, or, worse yet, a complete stranger.
We're not exactly strangers.
No, I didn't mind kissing you. Well, I did not mean to say that. That was TMI for sure. I mean, you're not a stranger. You're right. And if I have to kiss someone, I'd rather kiss someone that I kind of know, rather than someone I absolutely do not know, like that icky dude that was looking at me weirdly. I shiver. He sees me shivering, and concern enters his eyes, his brows coming down, and he takes 2 steps, closing the distance between us. His hand comes up like he's going to put it on my shoulder, then it drops back to his side.
I told him we were together. I did it because I just didn't like what he was saying and the way he was looking. Even though he's a business associate of mine, Bernie.
Yeah, thank you. But I know you don't want everyone and their mother to think that you and I are together. I'm sure of this. But he lifts a shoulder. It's broad and strong, and I know just how hard it is because I was touching it not that long ago.
It's not a big deal. We can keep up the farce for a bit and then break up if that's what you want to do.
He seems a little insecure, which is not a look I have ever seen on him before. It's not like I've spent a whole lot of time with him, but he just doesn't seem like the kind of man who doesn't know exactly what he wants. No, don't do that for my sake. I wouldn't want to have to lie to my friends and family, and that would be just as awkward all the way around. Plus, in case you have someone, I wouldn't want them to think that there was actually something between us.
I don't have anyone.
He sounds disappointed, or maybe hurt, like he thinks I don't want him. But that's impossible. He's a billionaire. Surely he has scores of women throwing themselves at his feet. Right?
Chapter 6. Samuel. She turned me down. I guess it's not that I can't believe it so much as I don't want to. I suppose the words that came out of my mouth on the spur of the moment were words I wanted to be true. It's on the tip of my tongue to tell her that rather than being in a fake relationship, we could make it real. But she's already turned me down once. I guess I don't want to put myself out there only to be slapped down again. That wasn't fair. She didn't slap me down, but she did decline my offer, and I think most men have much more fragile egos than what women realize. All right then, I guess we'll just tell everyone that I lied, because that's the truth. She bites her tongue, obviously not wanting to say that either. That makes me feel a little better, although I'm already admiring her because she didn't want to lie. She doesn't want to complicate her life with stuff like that, and there's a big part of me that admires that. After all, she knows who I am, and I haven't met too many people who would turn down having a relationship with me, even a fake one. Just being associated with me usually helps people in a huge way. But she wasn't interested in that or my money. Like I said, I admire and respect that.
I don't want to make you look bad,
she says, looking up at me with a worried expression. It's the truth. I shrug. I don't really want it to be out there, but the fact of the matter is, I lied. Sure, it was to protect her, but it was still a lie.
Sometimes just because something is the truth doesn't mean we have to say it. In fact, I think a lot of times we say things that are better left unsaid. They don't help anyone, they certainly don't encourage or uplift anyone, and silence is often the best answer.
I like this too. As bubbly and sweet as she seems, as much as I think of her as a ray of sunshine, she's not so verbose that she feels the need to spill everything about everyone, and I definitely like that. I guess we don't have to say anything, I say. That's not hard for me. I don't typically say more than necessary, and sometimes I've been accused of saying less, especially by previous girlfriends. They think I'm cold. Her brows come down, and I get the feeling she wants to defend me. But she presses her lips together and says,
All right, we just won't talk about any kind of relationship that we might or might not have.
I nod. It doesn't seem like the best solution, but I suppose when a person lies, it makes things difficult when they have to try to get out of it without lying anymore. So I deserve this. She is being as gracious to me as she possibly can, and I do appreciate it. She gives me a wave and says,
I guess I better go mingle a bit.
I nod and then pull my phone out of my pocket. I don't want to walk away. It's almost like I can't stop myself from wanting to be with her. I swipe my phone on and pull up the texting app. I know I'm in the middle of a party and I should let business go until tomorrow, but I don't want to miss this opportunity. I know I'm not going to forget, but I want to get it done. I pull up my personal secretary and send her a simple text. Lucy Sims is coordinating the gala for the community next week. I want her to report directly to me for everything. There. Maybe I won't have a relationship with her, but I will definitely have contact, and I'm not exactly charming, and I'm not sure what I'm hoping to accomplish by this. I just know that I want to spend more time with her. I've admired her for years, but maybe it was the kiss. Or, more likely, as much as I loved it and have never had anything like it, I think it's more the character she displays. Like when given the opportunity to lie, she refused. I walk slowly back out to the ballroom as my phone chimes.
I'll see to it in the morning.
Donna has been my secretary for years, and she is very efficient. She's used to my any time of the day texts, and I know I can count on her to get this done. I will be talking to Lucy tomorrow. That thought almost makes me smile. That kiss did not look fake, and with that smile on your face, I'm feeling like my gut is right. My brother Daniel comes up to me and slaps my back. Daniel and I might have been slightly competitive when we were younger, mostly because of me, because he's as easygoing as a person can get. But today, I consider him my best friend. He's everything I'm not, and our opposite personalities mesh well together. But I don't care for what he said, not because it's not true, but because I don't want the whole world to know how I feel. I wouldn't trust your gut if I were you, I say easily, not allowing him to ruffle me. You realize that's Allison's best friend you were swapping tonsils with, right? Daniel says, and I try not to cringe at his crude description of what was by far the best kiss of my life. I lift my shoulder, making sure my whole posture screams totally casual and in control. She was the one under the mistletoe with me, so that's what happens. I look around the room and find Amber, the girl that Daniel is here with, over on the other side, talking to several other ladies. You and Amber seem pretty cozy, I say, just to take the heat off me. My brother isn't fooled. I always thought you and Lucy would be perfect together, the way you and I are. She's different from me, of course, but you know how we work together really well with our different personalities? That's you and Lucy. I don't have a chance to say anything because Daniel slaps my back again and says, But you're right about Amber and me. My gut says she's the one. I want to warn him about trusting his gut again, except I think he might be right. He and Amber are perfect together, and I'm happy for him. He's always been pretty easygoing, but it's been a long time since I've seen him this happy. He grins again and walks off, and I stand in the corner, quiet, alone, thinking. I feel a little bit like it would be ironic for Daniel and me to both find the girl of our dreams within a couple of days of each other, but I can't get Lucy out of my mind, and her character and her integrity are so appealing. There's only one small problem. She doesn't seem to feel the same way about me. Well, I have the next week to launch a charm offensive. I probably should talk to Daniel about that, because he knows far more about it than I do, but I didn't get to where I am in life by sitting back and sucking my thumb when I'm faced with something I'm not sure I know how to do. Finding the perfect person to spend the rest of my life with is far more important than any business decision I've ever made, and I'm not going to let this opportunity slip by. Chapter 7. Lucy.
Oh my goodness, what about that kiss? Allison says as we meet up in a corner of the ballroom. Normally, I would be gushing over this house. We're best friends, but we don't spend time here. We hang out around town or at my place. This is her brother Daniel's home, and while I know that Allison spends a good bit of time here with him, it's not hers, or her family's necessarily, although Samuel is the one sponsoring this gala. Samuel is the one who kissed me. It was mistletoe, I say, shrugging my shoulders like it was no big deal. Lucy, I'm your best friend, and you just kissed my brother like you guys are seriously into each other. That wasn't a mistletoe peck. She gets quiet for a second, and then she says, and I'm honestly a little hurt that you didn't tell me that you and Samuel were together. That was shocking. What do I say? Samuel and I agreed that we weren't going to talk about this, but I don't want her to think that I deliberately withheld information from her. I also don't want her to know that her brother lied about it. I sigh. I know this is going to be hard, but I also know the kind of person Allison is. She's going to understand. I'm not supposed to talk about it. Samuel and I agreed that we weren't going to discuss it. Even now? You guys just kissed under the mistletoe. It was very romantic. A romance movie-worthy kiss for sure. Allison swoons a little and puts her wrist to her forehead like the kiss really was that good. I don't know how it looked to bystanders, but it really was good for me. That's for sure. Samuel definitely knows how to kiss a person. The thought doesn't really make me happy, because I don't like the idea of him kissing other girls. But there's nothing between us, so there's no reason for me to feel possessive and jealous of him. That's ridiculous. Maybe Allison sees something on my face or in my smile. I can't believe you guys are keeping this from everyone. Well, you can't be keeping it long. He just announced. I put a hand up. I know. We just talked about it, and I promised him that I wouldn't comment. I hate doing this to my best friend. We talk about everything, but I can't go back on my word to Samuel. I should have thought a little harder before I gave it in the first place. I should have said that I needed to be able to talk to Allison, but once you talk to one person, it snowballs. And I know that, and I'm sure he probably does too. I didn't even know Samuel was interested in you. But it's obvious from the way he was looking at you. I know a lot of people think that he's a jerk, not just because he's a billionaire, but because he is also quiet. But you know him. You know he's not like that. I do know the reputation he has around town. People do think he's all of the cliches that billionaires get saddled with. Greedy, mean, business cutthroat. Not to mention he's quiet and an introvert, and he gets hit with all of those cliches as well. Snobby, unsociable, and self-centered. I know, he's always been a really good brother to you, and every interaction and thing that I've seen him do over the years has been positive. He was always like that. Allison reminds me. I nod. I spent a good bit of time at her parents' house when we were growing up. Samuel was a lot older than Allison, and he was out of the house, but I still heard things the rest of the town might not have. Although negative things usually travel faster than the positive, and Samuel did do some things that I'm sure he wishes he could take back. Allison said that he came back to church and back to the Lord, and he changed after that. To me, that's the surest sign that something is real, when it elicits a change. I appreciate that about Samuel. So tell me about the gala planning. How's it coming? Allison says, and I appreciate that she's respecting that I can't talk about Samuel. I dive into it, talking about all the things I want to do in the morning. I haven't been able to come up here and make any plans, because everything was being set up for this. So everything is in place. I just have to get in the house tomorrow and do some fine-tuning. It'll probably take all week, because there are a lot of moving parts, but I'm excited about it. Nervous? Allison asks, giving me a knowing smile. I forgot about my nervousness tonight, but it'll start back up tomorrow. It's not nervousness so much as I feel pressure to make this turn out perfectly. I do want people to see Samuel in the very best light, and that's how I'm seeing it. She already knows that, because I talked to her about it a good bit, but it's true. Samuel is an awesome person, and I want the world to know it.
Chapter 8. Samuel. I'm waiting in the East drawing room the next morning before 7 o'clock. I know Lucy is always early, and she doesn't disappoint today either. It's 5 till when I hear a knock on the door. "It's open," I call out, wondering why I feel more nervous about facing Lucy this morning than I do about facing an entire boardroom of men to talk about a $100 million business venture. I'm standing at the window, but I hear the door click closed. I don't turn around. I'm still trying to marshal my thoughts. How am I going to do this? I've never been good at wooing a lady. I just am honest, and women are usually attracted to me for my money. I don't have to do anything in order to win them.
Good morning, Samuel.
Lucy's friendly voice comes from behind me. Somehow her voice reminds me of our kiss last night, and a warmth spreads through me that has nothing to do with the morning sun on my face.
Donna said you wanted to see me. I'll just be honest, I'm worried that I'm doing something wrong. Are things going wrong with the gala?
Everything's just fine, I say, taking another deep breath before I turn around slowly. And then I see she's standing in the middle of the room looking as uncomfortable as I've ever seen Lucy look. Normally, she's smiling and happy, bubbling and spreading sunshine wherever she goes. She still looks sunny and sweet, but I want to erase the worried look on her face. "Would you like to sit down for a moment? I ordered some breakfast pastries to be brought when you arrived."
"All right,"
she says, walking over to one of the love seats that faces the coffee table between them. I want to sit down beside her, close, but that's not where we are, and it would be seen as too intimidating, probably. Stalkerish at the worst. She talks before I get a chance, almost before her butt touches the love seat.
"Whatever I'm doing wrong, I'm more than happy to fix it. I thought that you approved of everything I did, and I've been going through Donna."
I put a hand up. I know she has, and I appreciate everything she's done. You're doing fine.
I feel like I've been called on the carpet.
I just wanted to talk to you. This was a terrible idea. I put her on the defensive, made her feel like she's not doing a good enough job. And now, instead of my carefully rehearsed speech where I was going to tell her that it was important to me what the town thought of me, and I was hoping that she would work very closely with me in order for me to put the best foot forward, and all that stuff that I was going to say, all I can think about now is I was trying to get closer to her, to somehow be able to be around her, to somehow make her see the real me. And I hoped she would like me, as much as I like her. I would like to shake my head and forget about everything, just wave her off and tell her to continue as she was, that I really didn't have anything to say. But again, I didn't get to be where I am by giving up so easily. You're doing a great job. Everything that has been run by me has been perfect. It's just, after yesterday. I pause, not sure what to say.
After the kiss?
She supplies for me, and somehow she does it without seeming embarrassed. I want to hide under the couch, but I don't allow myself to even contemplate whether or not there would be enough room there for me. Yeah, I guess I wanted to work more closely with you. That was a stupid thing to say. Don't kiss someone and then make your working relationship awkward by superimposing the kiss on everything that you do and making the person you kissed work in close proximity with you. I flatten my lips. But I can see now that it was a stupid idea.
You want to work more closely with me because of the kiss,
she says slowly.
I assure you, I don't go around kissing people on a regular basis. In fact, You're the first man I've kissed in 3 years since I gave up dating."
I hadn't realized she'd given up dating, and I thought I knew a lot about her.
I could add that it was the best kiss I've ever had, but I think that was you and not me. But that had nothing to do with anything other than I promise you, I'm not having weird relationships with anyone in your staff or household.
I didn't think you were, I say, relieved to hear it nonetheless. And I'm kind of stuck on the idea that she just said that it was the best kiss she'd ever had, and she's giving me the credit. It kind of makes me want to practice right now. Chapter 9. Lucy.
I have no idea why Samuel has called me on the carpet, but I'm feeling a lot of pressure and fear. Is he going to make me quit? But then he said everything I'm doing is fine, and then he started talking about the kiss. I thought we were going to put it behind us, and I had determined in my heart that I was not going to even think about it today, even if I did happen to see him, because I heard that he was going to be staying in town for the week until the town celebration this weekend. I thought I might run into him, and I was trying to convince myself that I needed to do it without becoming flabbergasted or becoming beet red. But I definitely wasn't expected to be called into... It's not his office. It's the drawing room or a morning room or whatever rich people call rooms that one sits in just because of the angle of the sun, and that's pretty much all it's for, sitting in. There are 2 love seats which face each other with the coffee table between them, and beautiful, huge windows that would be absolutely gorgeous to take in the sunrise over the mountains. The sun is up and shining in, giving the room a cheerful, happy look, which I love. Although, right now, I wouldn't mind being able to crawl out and hide under a rock for a while. I just told Samuel yesterday's kiss was the best kiss I ever had and gave him the credit for it. He has to know I have a full-blown infatuation with him now. But I totally get what he's saying about wanting to be involved with the gala. I'm really happy to hear that you're interested in having a hand in it. I tried to do things the way I think you would, or to show off you and your personality to the best of my ability, as well as I know it.
You probably know me as well as anyone except for the possibility of Daniel and Allison, even better than my parents.
I think your parents know you pretty well. I got a lot of my information about you from them. He looks taken aback and then a little worried, like they might have said unkind things. They're proud of you, so proud and thrilled that you changed from the way you used to do business.
You heard about that?
He says, coming over and sitting down on the edge of the opposite couch. I feel like we're going to be talking for a while, but then there's a knock on the door. Samuel shakes his head like he totally forgot there was food coming. I always rush out the door without eating, and I'm afraid my stomach is going to growl. I suck it in and remind it to behave itself and stay in its place and not embarrass me.
Come on in,
Samuel calls out, and then the door opens and a woman in a uniform brings a covered tray in. She sets it on the coffee table, curtsies, nods to us, and then leaves, closing the door behind her. The interruption seems to have given Samuel a little bit of his confidence back, and he pulls the lid off the tray. There are danishes, donuts, scones, and even what looks like cheesecake, as well as 2 steaming mugs of coffee.
I wasn't sure how you took your coffee, so I told them to put sugar and creamer on the tray.
With all those goodies, I probably better drink it black, I say, thinking that if I lived here all the time, I would probably be gaining a lot of weight. Everything looks so good, I'm not sure what to get. But Samuel encourages me to pick something, and so I do.
So my parents told you that I didn't always have the best business practices, and I wasn't always as ethical as I should have been.
Samuel's statement is flat, like he's already accepted the fact that I probably hate him. They also told me that about 8 years ago you came back to the Lord, that you completely changed the way you did business, and it became even more successful than it was before, and you also tried to make up for what you did wrong before.
You can never go back and fix things.
Not all the way, but I think it's the thought that counts. At least, that's the way I feel about it.
I guess I feel like action is more important than thinking or words, but I suppose that shows our differences.
We are different. I say, enjoying the delicious pastry that tastes a little bit like blueberry and a lot like cream cheese, only thicker and richer and so good.
Someone told me that the reason opposites attract is because one person's weakness is another person's strength, and opposites work well together.
That seems like such an odd statement coming from him, but I agree completely. I think that's true. I think that if you work with someone who's just like you, then things get overlooked. That might be part of the problem that we have in today's society, where we're absolutely opposed to thinking about hanging out with anyone who doesn't completely agree with us on politics or religion or whatever because we feel passionately about it and don't want to hear any disagreement on our stance. But a lot of times, disagreement is a good thing. We broaden our horizons, open up our views, and become better, well-rounded people when we allow in ideas and personalities that are not like us.
Such wisdom in one so young.
Samuel says, and I believe he's teasing me. I have to blink and do a double take before I see the twinkle in his eye. I grin. Thanks, that's what all the billionaires say. I wonder if I'm allowed to tease him, but he does the same thing I did, looks at me as though he's trying to figure out if I truly was teasing, blinks, and then a miracle happens, and his smile breaks out on his face.
Is that so? Do all the billionaires kiss you too? Chapter 10. Samuel. I was trying to get away from the subject of our kiss, and until that unwelcome thought pops out of my mouth, we were finally breaking the ice and starting to have a conversation. Of course, I suppose if a person thinks about something so much, they can't help but talk about it. And that's what's going on with me. All I can seem to think about is that kiss, and that's all I want to talk about, too. But it didn't faze her or make her uncomfortable. If anything, Lucy smiles bigger.
You're the only billionaire I've ever kissed. But if that kiss was anything to judge by, I should be kissing more. It was really nice.
Her tone kind of lowers and is soft on those last two words, and I believe she really means it. Does this mean she likes me too? I have no idea, and I'm not very good at beating around the bush. I guess I worked so hard from the time I graduated from high school, even before, until now, trying to be a success, to grow my business. Not just because I enjoyed earning money, but because I enjoy finding a challenge and meeting it and becoming victorious. It's almost an addiction. She nods, and this isn't news to her. She is best friends with my little sister, after all. I suppose what I'm saying is, I don't have much experience in relationships. The only ones I had are with girls who were after me for my money, and I didn't really have to put much effort into them. Of course, that's probably why they blew up in my face, and I ended up surprised, since I hadn't put much effort into them.
Okay,
She says, and I'm guessing she's probably wondering why I'm talking about this. I guess I'm wondering the same thing, except I want to be honest with her. That's a long, roundabout way of saying I enjoyed that kiss too, but I don't know how to follow it up. This was the only thing I could think of, by asking for you to work with me, which seems to be the exact opposite of what a normal person would have done. I should be putting more distance between us at work, not drawing closer. She nods thoughtfully, as though she's not exactly sure what I'm saying, but I know she understands the part about working with someone that you're attracted to and trying to make sure you keep things above board.
it's perfectly okay with me if you want to work closely with me. I don't really want to repeat the kiss, though,
She says, looking at me carefully. That is a blow to my heart. I don't just want to repeat it. I want to wake up every morning to it and go to bed every night to her kiss. And how I've gone from having my eyes opened about my little sister's best friend to wanting to marry her, I'm not sure. But it seems like a natural leap, at least to my logical brain. If I want to be with someone, I don't want to beat around the bush about it. Can I ask why? I finally say, knowing I sound hesitant and unsure, but this is shaky ground for me. I am completely out of my element and not sure where to go next. I want more, not less. Her lips press closed, and then one pulls back. She looks down at her plate and puts a finger on the edge, tracing it. Her hands look like working hands, with short nails and calluses. They look capable, like she can take something and make it beautiful with her hands. I'm a little fascinated by them, and I stare at her hands as she speaks.
I've never been the kind of girl who just goes around kissing anyone. I know we talked about that last night, and I don't want you to think that I am that kind of girl.
I know you. I don't think that way. I know the kind of girl you are.
You do?
She asks, sounding like she doesn't believe it. Sure. You're the kind of girl who doesn't want to lie to her friends and family and isn't afraid to tell a billionaire that. You're the kind of girl who doesn't go around kissing just anyone, and the kind of girl who wants a serious relationship, and not something that's built on physical attraction or kissing. I can tell from the expression on her face that I've hit the nail on the head. My problem is, I don't know how to go from kissing to trying to build a serious relationship, and I don't know if you're interested. Her eyes open wide, like that is not what she was expecting me to say.
I thought I was getting called in here because I was in some kind of trouble, maybe even getting fired. I was not expecting you to talk about that at all.
I'm sorry. I guess I could have searched you out, but then I would be interrupting your work and making you feel like you had to talk instead of work. This way, you know that I'm in charge and that whatever we're discussing is more important than you putting in the time that you're being paid for. She smiles again, and I know that she's surprised that I know what her character is. But I figured that out last night after she didn't want to lie. After all, getting paid for not working is lying, and I was able to connect the dots and know that that would bother her. Chapter 11. Lucy.
I can't believe I'm having this conversation. It feels surreal, and I'm worried that I'm reading more into it than what Samuel actually means. I feel like he's interested in a real relationship. Could that be true? I've always admired him, from when I first started hearing that he was turning his life around. Doing something like that is not easy, especially when a person is already successful and what they're doing is working.
I don't want to keep you any longer,
He finally says. He sounds a little disappointed, like this conversation didn't turn out the way he was expecting it to. I think I'm being dismissed, though, except I get the feeling that he doesn't want me to go easily. He wants me to show a little bit of interest, too. Maybe that's my imagination, and I feel like he's used to women chasing after him. He's not used to women being totally immune to his charms. Not that I am. I have to do a sound check today. Would you be interested in doing it with me? I say, feeling like I am really putting myself out there. I know I'm tensed up, and I deliberately relax my muscles and try to think about cheesecake, but I'm holding my breath, waiting for his answer. A little bit of relief seems to steal across his face, or maybe it's happiness. It's that quirking of his lips that indicates the man might be interested in smiling.
Sound check? I'd love to.
I nod my head and push to my feet. We can grab these things and take them back to the kitchen on our way outside. The guys were setting up as I walked in. They're not going to have everything ready, but the owner had told me that they had several other show obligations and would not be able to be back until the day of the party, so they were going to do their sound check today. I really need to get down there and make sure everything is good. While I trust the men I hired, it's my responsibility to make sure every detail is perfect. I reach down to grab the tray. I might as well take it to the kitchen on my way out.
Someone will get that,
Samuel says to me, and I pause. I don't want to argue with him. I'm headed right down toward the kitchen. It would probably save someone a trip if I take it myself. I don't mind at all. The sound guys probably won't be completely ready for me for another hour, and it would be good for me to familiarize myself with the area where the party's going to be.
I'm actually very familiar with the house. I could give you a tour.
My heart does a quick flip, and my chest expands. I wonder how many people get a personal tour of the place by Samuel himself. I'd love that, I say honestly. I know it's your brother's place, but Allison said that you spend a lot of time here and are thinking about spending more.
She's absolutely right about spending more. I grew up here, as you know, and I've always loved the town. It's a special place.
I agree. I can't imagine living in a town that didn't celebrate Christmas year-round. It seems so natural, even though I know that's not the normal everybody else lives in.
You can explain to me what's so special about Christmas.
He opens the door, and I carry the tray through, while he has both our plates in his hand. I like that not only did he go along with my suggestion, but he decided to help me. Are you serious? I ask as his question penetrates my mind. What's so special about Christmas? You mean he doesn't know?
Yeah, I'm serious. I guess I don't get all the hoopla and the parties and the money and the gifts and the commercialism. It feels like you don't really get a connection to what Christmas is all about, for real. I see. I can totally understand what he's saying. I'm not going to be able to convince you any different. I am in agreement with you for the most part that everything is too commercialized. It's all about money or making a big splash, I say with a little laugh. I don't miss the irony, knowing that my job is to make a big splash at the party. I guess I just want to focus on work, focus on getting things done. This whole needing to celebrate for a month or 6 weeks beforehand just doesn't make any sense to me. I think it's all about connection. People like to feel connected to each other. They like pretty things.
They like to have a reason to celebrate and get together. I suppose you're right. Corporations capitalize on that, and they make money off of it. And why not? That's what corporations are supposed to do, right? And that gives people jobs. It stimulates the economy. We've reached the door to the kitchen, and he pushes it open. I chat a bit with the lady who takes the trays and cups, promising to come back and taste some of the things that she's working on making for the party.
I'll have her back this afternoon, but I'm giving her a tour of the grounds right now, and then she has a sound check.
Samuel says as he pushes the door open and holds it for me. I wave to the cook, who seems like a really sweet lady, and then walk through. It seems like you know her pretty well, I say casually as I wait in the hall for him to catch up to me and show me which way we're going.
I try to make sure that I know the people around me. I guess it's something I learned doing business. But the whole connection thing that you're talking about with Christmas makes sense to me.
I think that's why we celebrate things. It gives us a connection to the past, to the future, to our families and communities, and we love remembering. I think it probably did start out as Christians remembering and celebrating the birth of our Savior, but I think the nice thing about celebrations is everyone enjoys being included. Celebrations just bring people together in ways that we need as a human species.
We need connection.
Yeah, I can't quote you the scientific facts, but I know it's good for us. I know that when we don't have connections, we suffer, psychologically but also physically. I think I read somewhere that not having social connections is as bad for your health as smoking cigarettes or eating junk food.
Chapter 12. Samuel. She's agreed to walk with me and to spend the day with me, I think. I don't know what I did to convince her of that, but she's friendly and sparkly, and she's talking about the importance of human connection. Do you think that's only for extroverts? Do you think there are people who don't really need that?
I think it's a human need in general, just maybe some people need more of it than others. The way some people seem to require more sleep or that type of thing.
Maybe she's right. I guess I do long for connection, but not with a lot of different people. I'm happy just being connected with my family and keeping things on a business level for almost everyone else. But the connection is part of the reason that I love the small town. It's part of the reason that I'm doing this outreach.
I know you understand, even if it's not on an articulate level, the need for connection. After all, this party was your idea, if I'm not mistaken.
You're not mistaken, I say, and then I realize my words might have sounded a little short. But she doesn't seem to be offended. She seems to not be easily offended over everything. I love that. You don't seem to care that I don't always answer questions with a lot of words. She laughs as we reach the ballroom door and stand outside of it. I can hear the men inside talking as they set things up, and I don't really want to be with other people right now. I want to focus on Lucy.
I think that growing up, I struggled with that some. I got some good advice from my parents. My mom in particular told me that I needed to look at people and assume the best of them. Sure, they might disappoint me with the worst, but I need to give everyone the benefit of the doubt all the time. That's what I want done to me, right? And the golden rule is to do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If I want people to look at me and think the best, then that's what I need to do as I interact with the world.
I don't really like the idea that she's just thinking the best of me. Except, I love what that says about her. I think that explains why you're so bubbly and happy all the time. Maybe if we think the best about other people, it gives us more positive things to focus on, and we're not thinking the negative things all the time.
It definitely changes your brain when you focus on the good.
I know this is something I should do, and I also know that I've always wanted to spend time around people who make me a better person. Usually I'm focused on the business aspects, people who can teach me things, people who can help me navigate the business world better and show me more and better ways to make money. But I also like the idea of working on myself and becoming a better person. And being with Lucy is obviously a way to have that happen. Are you going to tell me what you have planned? I'm talking about the party. It's not really a huge change of subject. I just need some time to think. Plus, I love the way she talks, and the excitement that lights up her eyes, and the way she gets excited and happy. She just seems to be so animated, and it's a beautiful thing to see.
Sure, I'd love to. I haven't been responsible for a whole lot of the planning in the house, since I was told that yesterday's party had to happen before I was allowed in.
I hope that wasn't a problem. That order didn't come from me.
It's not a problem at all. I'm just coordinating things. I was able to talk to your cook on the telephone, and while I'm in charge of the menu, I allowed all of that up to her, just asking her to cook things that have always been popular, and things that she knows will work well at a party. It seemed kind of silly for me to try to micromanage that when she has all the experience.
I'm impressed. That's how I try to handle my business. But I found that a lot of people, when they're given a little bit of power, they let it go to their head. They start thinking that they know better than everyone else around them, and they're unwilling to take advice or suggestions. It can be frustrating. But you seem to be the opposite, naturally wanting the input of others, and acknowledging their expertise. It's a humility that is uncommon in today's world, and it's impressive to me.
Well, thank you. I guess maybe it's part of that connection we were talking about, where it makes more sense to me to connect to people than it does to try to compete with them.
Ouch. She hit me where it hurts. I'm definitely competitive.
Sorry,
she says, smiling up at me and looking so happy, so amused, that I find myself wanting to smile. You know, every time I'm around you, you make me want to smile. I didn't mean to admit that, but I think my comment makes her happy.
That's a good thing. Smiling is good. I don't have the data in front of me again, but I do know that smiling is good for your health. Even the Bible says that a merry heart doeth good like a medicine.
There's a lot of wisdom in the Bible, I say, appreciating the fact that she can quote it. Let's go this way. I'll show you where our guests usually gather when we entertain inside and out. Chapter 13. Lucy.
Samuel has shown me all around the grounds, and I'm still feeling like this can't be real. This is Samuel Barrage, Allison's brother, and he's talking to me and interacting. And if that weren't weird enough, I find myself looking at his lips and watching him speak, but thinking about his kiss. What is wrong with me? The grounds are beautiful, though, and he is very knowledgeable about them. Obviously, it's his brother's house, but they researched it together, and he knows a lot of the history. I find it fascinating and could stand to listen a lot more. As it is, we're back in 2 hours for the sound check. I want the music to drift over the different areas where the guests will mingle outside. I have horse-drawn carriage rides planned, although they would be sleigh rides if we get any snow. But it's warm and there's no snow in the forecast. I go on about the other things I have planned, and he listens intently, like he's truly interested. This is such a beautiful place, and I'm so glad you're doing it. I end by saying, and I feel a little lame. We've both listened to the sound check, and now a song comes on through the speakers, something soft and slow, and I expect Samuel to answer me, but instead he says,
Would you like to dance?
My mouth opens, and my eyes open and close, and I cannot hide the fact that his question has thrown me for a loop.
I'm sorry. That wasn't very professional.
He apologizes immediately, puts his hands behind his back, and starts to walk away. Wait! I sound a little breathless. He stops, but doesn't turn around. Samuel?
No, I'm sorry. I don't usually have a problem like this. I'm not sure why I do today.
It's a good problem to have, in my opinion anyway, and I'm glad you have it. I would love to dance with you. Would you do me the honor, please? I'm not sure why I'm asking him. It's obvious that he regrets the question to me. But there's just something that tells me that he asked because he wanted to. And he still wants to, even though he feels like he crossed a line. I don't feel like there are any lines. Not like that. If we like each other, it shouldn't matter.
I don't want you to feel like you have to do something that you don't want to. I guess that's something that I've learned to be careful of, since I have money.
He scrunches up his face like he's apologizing for it.
People sometimes feel like they need to do whatever I want. They act like I'm on some kind of pedestal, and I don't want you to be dancing just because you feel like you have to.
I want to, I say, taking 2 steps toward him and putting my arms around his neck. I've surprised him, and I can feel him freeze under my hands. Then he relaxes and puts his arms around my waist.
Allison always talks about how honest you are. She says you never say what you don't mean.
I do, and she's right. I don't see the point in saying things I don't mean. I guess it can get you somewhere in the short run, but in the long run, it's like tearing down the boards of your house and burning them to keep yourself warm, and then you end up having no house. It's like taking that from your character and burning them, and you find out that you actually have no character in the long run. I don't know why I'm droning on about character, but he is nodding like he agrees with me, and I know he does. The change that happened in him was real.
It's just rare to find that in someone. Is it terrible to say I'm wickedly attracted to it?
He puts his hands on my waist, and we start swaying to the mood music. I feel comfortable in his arms, the way I did last night, when he talked to me. Although I'm much closer to his lips now, and it's hard not to remember that kiss. Character attracts me too, more so than any physical attribute could, and a lack of character is repellent, which I suppose is just as important to note.
I can't disagree with that,
he says, and I don't know whether he means to or not, but he tugs me a little closer, and my cheek leans against his chest while he rests his cheek on top of my head, and it feels like the rest of the world falls away. I know I have a job to do, and while I've done the bulk of the work previously, today's the day that I need to make sure that everything's going to come together. But it's hard to think about anything else other than spending time with Samuel. And I definitely don't want to step out of his embrace.
You fit perfectly. I always thought you would.
You've thought about this? I ask, unable to keep the surprise out of my voice.
I probably shouldn't admit that, should I? Chapter 14. Samuel. I feel so comfortable with Lucy that things keep coming out of my mouth that I probably should not allow to ever see the light of day. But I also know that sometimes you just have to speak the truth and let the chips fall where they will. If I don't tell Lucy how I feel, I might lose my chance. Someone like her isn't going to be single for long.
I think it's perfectly okay to admit, and I'm glad you did. I didn't know you very well since you were gone by the time Allison and I were in junior high, but I've admired you a lot over the years, particularly when you realized that you were going in the wrong direction and you wanted to turn your life around. That's not easy.
It was the right thing to do. I couldn't have a spiritual conversion without it coming out in my everyday actions.
A lot of people claim to.
She's right. Maybe that's part of the reason why it was so important to me to make sure that I showed it, because I'd seen people who hadn't, and rather than drawing people to Christ, they repelled them. I didn't want to be that kind of person. If I truly believed what I said I believed, then I should live that way. She doesn't say anything, and we fall into a comfortable silence. The song ends, and they don't play another one. I don't want to let her go, but I've run out of excuses to stand here and hold her. I take a step back, allowing my hands to slide slowly off her while hers fall from my neck. I feel cold and alone without them there, and I want to step back into her arms. Are you ready to do some taste testing? I say instead.
Just let me talk to these guys for a minute and confirm a couple of things, and then I'll be ready.
We walk over. I stand back while she handles things. She's not a suave and sophisticated business person. She is friendly with the guys and has them laughing, but not in a flirty or suggestive way. She knows how to make fun of herself, and to me, self-deprecating humor shows a strength and confidence that people who can't make fun of themselves don't have. I love that Lucy does have it, but she doesn't come off as arrogant or prideful. She just comes off as very humble but knowledgeable. And funny. She brightens my life the way she brightens rooms, and I can see her having that effect on these guys too. They're smiling as we walk away, and so is she. I don't know how you do that with people.
Do what?
She asks, like she didn't just spend the last 10 minutes making those guys' day brighter by her very presence. Even though they're doing a job, and she made a few corrections, she didn't do it in such a way that they seemed resentful or angry about them. I know, from experience, that takes talent. You corrected those guys without them even really realizing it. By the time you left, all of them were still smiling. That's not something just anyone can do. She doesn't seem to get it, and I hold the door as we walk back into the house. The warm air hits us, and I realize that it is cold outside. Funny that I don't notice when I'm with Lucy. She keeps me warm.
Oh my goodness, it smells amazing in here,
Lucy says as she waits for me to come through. And that's another thing I really love about her. She doesn't just take off. She shows not deference exactly, but a willingness to walk beside me rather than in front of me, when she's the one who's supposed to be in charge. But she never takes that and runs with it. She uses her authority in a way that makes everyone feel included, although there's never any doubt about this being her job. It does. I can't wait to see what they're going to have us tasting. Although, I'm still full from breakfast. I don't know if I'm still full from breakfast or I'm just not hungry. I didn't lose my appetite exactly. I just want Lucy. And the fact that I want her more than food says a lot.
That's funny. I'm starving. I think being outside in the cool air, walking around, or I don't know,
She says, lifting a shoulder and giving me a happy glance, like she's totally content and satisfied, even though I know she's feeling stress about the gala. We go into the kitchen, and the cook has an entire tray full of things for us to taste. She's obviously been working on it since we stopped in.
I hope you guys brought your appetite,
She says, nodding at the tray as she lifts the lid.
We put out all of our best for you. Now, if there's anything you decide that you don't think we should have, or if there's anything you think we ought to have a lot of, we'd love to have your opinion.
She doesn't stand over us, though, but sets the lid down, points out that everything is labeled so we can know what we're trying, and then walks back to the oven, opening the door to check something.
Wow, I don't even know where to start,
Lucy says as she looks at the spread of food in front of her and picks up one of the 2 plates.
Have you had any of this before?
She asks. I've had it all, but I hate to say that, because it's almost like rubbing in how different we are. I don't want us to be different. I want us to have everything in common. But that's ridiculous. We're as different as 2 people can be. And the way she brings people together, I'm starting to feel like it doesn't matter. Chapter 15. Lucy.
My plate is full as Samuel leads me over to a small table where we sit down. I try to take just a tiny bite of everything so I won't get full as I eat. I try to remind myself that this is not for pleasure, this is business. But Samuel's not acting like it's business. He's acting like he's pursuing me, like he wants me. It's a heady feeling, to be honest. I suppose it makes me feel powerful in a way, but also humble. That someone as brilliant and amazing and successful and with as much character and integrity as Samuel thinks I am worth pursuing. I know he's not a player. I've been friends with Allison for long enough to know that he doesn't mess with people, and he doesn't lead women on, only to break their hearts. In fact, after several women were obviously only after him for his money, he had given up on dating completely, from what Allison has said. So this is unexpected and a little shocking, but still, I have to admit it's welcome. I really like this, I say, pointing to something that seems like lasagna.
That's Flora's specialty. I don't think we've ever had a sit-down meal that didn't include Cook's 3-meat and 5-cheese lasagna.
That's what it's called? He nods, taking his off his plate and putting it in his mouth.
It tastes the same every time. I don't know how she does it, but I could eat this stuff for the rest of my life.
Same. Wow. Everything on the tray is delicious. There are things I've never heard of, things that seem fancy, and then paired with the very common, very everyday lasagna that was anything but everyday. It just feels like a mix of fancy and approachable. I think she's planned this out perfectly, I say as Samuel looks at me with a lifted brow. I can read that expression. He wants me to go on. She has something for everyone. Something to make people feel comfortable, something to make them feel pampered, and everything tastes so delicious it's almost unbelievable.
I hadn't noticed that until you said it, but I guess you're right. She's got fancy little things that take forever to make, and no one would actually have on their supper table, and things that everyone has eaten a time or two. But she's made it all in such a way that it all feels like you're being spoiled in the best kind of way.
I nod and think I feel like I'm being spoiled in the best kind of way by Samuel, too. We finish up eating and take our plates back to the kitchen, where I talk to Flora, complimenting her and what she's done and telling her that I wouldn't change a thing. That's the honest truth. It's time to go back into the ballroom, see how they set the tables up, and make sure that they've done it the way I asked them to. There's also going to be some speakers set up, although the decorations are going to be the same as for the party the night before. As we're walking out of the kitchen, he holds the door for me, and I wait for him as I have every time. This time, though, when he catches up to me, his fingers slip into mine, and before I know it, he's holding my hand. It feels perfect. I look up at him, and he's studying me, like he wants to know what I think about this. I think he can tell from the expression on my face that it's absolutely perfect.
Let's go,
he says softly, and I'm disappointed. I thought we were having a moment, and I thought that perhaps there would be a kiss. I shake my head. I'm supposed to be working. We walk side by side to the door. He opens it, and we step in. But he's holding my hand and stops in the doorway, causing me to stop too. He looks up, and my gaze follows his.
Wow, what do you know? Look at that.
There's no surprise in his voice, just humor, as we both stand staring at the mistletoe that's over top of us. A warmth starts in my chest and spreads out through my entire body. I know he did this on purpose, and he knows I know. I don't need mistletoe to want to kiss you, I whisper.
I don't need it either,
he murmurs as he slowly pulls me toward him. I go willingly.
I want more than kissing,
he continues, and my throat goes dry.
I want your laughter, your smiles. I want to know that I have the right to be beside you. I want to be able to watch you and not care about who sees me and what kind of admiration I have in my eyes when I look at you. I want you to continue to teach me how to be a better person.
I'm learning that from you. I can't help but interrupt him.
Then maybe we can learn from each other?
It's a question, and I'm nodding before he's even done. I will, and I want all of that with you. My voice is soft as well, and I don't know how it happened, but I have one hand wrapped around his neck, and I'm tugging as he puts a hand around my waist and pulls me closer. I run my other hand up his back, and his head lowers. This time, there's not a crowd of people watching us, but I don't have any more awareness of that now than I did before. I just know how perfect and right and beautiful it is, and I know I found the man that I want to spend the rest of my life with. Not today. We don't need to talk about that today. But this isn't a throwaway mistletoe kiss. It's making a mistletoe mishap into a relationship that lasts a lifetime.
Hi, this is Jay, and thanks for listening. If you're ready for another great Jessie Gussman audiobook, here's one we think you might like. Or check out our latest releases. Don't forget to subscribe to Say with Jay, give this video a thumbs up, and tell us what you liked in the comments.